on a physical level, but when we start to improve ourselves on a physical level, it ties into other aspects. It ties into our psychology and even our emotional health as well. So I think that's what you could just say, oh, because it's a really cool, you know, it looks really cool and it's different. That's probably part of it. But I think on a deeper level, it has to do with the way that it energizes us.
Definitely.
And that's very different than what most people are used to with training. Usually training leaves you, you know, it beats you up. And, of course, kettlebells is vigorous and it will kill you as well if you push yourself. But it somehow charges you in a way that's different than that, you know, when you're doing, you know, bodybuilding type of stuff, it kind of exhausts you and you feel like you got hit by a truck. With kettlebells, you get very tired, but you feel good at the same time. And, you know, it just resonates with people. It's natural. It's more like a hunter-gatherer type of thing. You know, you're relaxed, but you're putting out that effort, and then you just do it again, and, you know, a couple of days later. So.
Exactly. And, yeah, definitely, like you said, it just seems like a lot of the other aspects, like I said, going into the gym, sitting inside of a machine, there's something about feeling, you almost feel like a caged animal right there. It can make you a little anxious to sit in that thing. And
exactly. It's like working at the office, you know.
Exactly. I think it really sucks that as soon as you get off work, you go to the gym. So you get up from one cubicle and go to another one. Only instead of having papers and weights dropped on your desk, you know, for all these different papers that you need to go through, now you actually have to lift them up and put them over your head, you know, while you're sitting down. So it's kind of like it's more of the same. You know, like I said,
instead of pushing pens, you're pushing pins in the machine. So
exactly. So it's what I call same crap, different toilet. So yeah, I can see where the appeal is definitely with that. And it's just amazing because, again, you're not spending an hour or 2 hours, you know, just trying to just work on one section of your body. Whereas here it is with kettlebells, you're getting a full body, you know, experience right here. And I think that's what people want. No one really wants something half you know what. You know, they really want the full experience of something. And you get a full experience every time you step in and put your hands on that bell. Everything's getting worked. You don't have to spend all day doing it. And you can get back to your life. Well, the cool thing is you've actually added this as part of your life as well. And I don't think a lot of times when those who go to the gym and go through the same bodybuilder type routines or whatever, they don't feel like they're living. You can just see it on their faces. Just walk around the gym and just take a look. It's always like a great social experience for me. You know, a great, like, just, it's like lab work, sitting like for a sociology degree, to sit there in the gym and just look at the faces of people, watch how they're reacting, look how they're interacting, or lack of when they're inside the gym. It's just so lifeless. I'm like, I think you probably get more life at in the rec area of a prison. You know.
I'll take your word for that, sincere.
Well, you know, so I've heard. I mean, not I mean, I watched the odds for 6 years. Okay, I'll just say, you know,
it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I'm with you.
Exactly. So when we're talking about time, as far as, you know, and I know you said that there are like 36 different workouts on the DVD. What is the actual length of each workout?
They average about 30 minutes. Some of them are probably about 25 minutes. Some of them are close to 40 minutes, but pretty much they're about 30 minutes. And, you know, there's a very reduced rest periods. It's very, very short, if any, rest periods. So it's really a very high anaerobic component in the circuits. It's kind of a circuit style of approach, integrating kettlebells, both single and double of various weights, but also integrating barbell training, integrating body weight conditioning as well. And then I also have a section on thorough warm-up and another section on thorough cool-down and stretching. So, but they're very intense, very short rest periods. So the workouts aren't really long, but they're plenty long enough for sure. So, yeah, I would say about 30 minutes is the average time for most of the workouts. So
definitely we've got lots of quality over quantity right here.
Exactly. So, you know, it doesn't take all day.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I made it a 3-day-a-week just because they're very intense. And, you know, most people, they need to have, you know, at least 1 day of full recovery in between. And, you know, for people that are more fit, that have been training for many years, they can do other things on the off days. They can run or do some other type of training. But this idea that you have to train every single day is really incorrect. You should do something every day. You should move every day, certainly, but you don't necessarily need to do kettlebells every day. It obviously, we know, just basic exercise science, we know there's an inverse relationship between intensity and volume. So you can, if you want to train every day, then you can't train at a high intensity every day. Or if you want to train very intense, you can't do that every day. So because this is more on the high intensity level, we allow a day of rest in between. So it's structured as a 3-day a week. And then, for folks that are, once you start getting into your maybe late 30s and 40s, the body's recuperative ability to slow down a little bit. So, since it's for the general consumer.
Starting to get there. Yeah, starting to, realize that it's kind of like, okay, you know what? Some days, especially training for kettlebell sport, some days, that every other day is just not necessarily working. Sometimes you got to throw a second day in there. And not necessarily just sitting around, but, definitely on those off days, I might, walk for about an hour, and which to me is a little bit more exhilarating as far as a recovery type day, because when I'm walking, I'm kind of getting back to nature while I'm out there. And a lot of times we're so caught up in the game of life that we just don't even take time to see all the beautiful things around us. I mean, not to get all hokey, but it's just the way I feel. And
I agree with you.
And it makes me really appreciate when I go back to training the next day. I'm revitalized, I'm re-energized. It's like, you know what? I'm part of this great big thing out here, and I'm doing my part to just really throw out some great energy out there. So it makes it, like I said, it gives me that boost I need when I do go back to my GS training 2 days later or whatever I'm training for at the time. So
keep you refreshed.
I will say that. But one thing about getting older, though, your body, if you really listen to your body, it'll tell you what it really wants. And some days it's going to say, you know what, let's take one more day off. And there's nothing. And I've come to realize that's the beautiful thing about maturing, that there's nothing wrong with that. I don't necessarily have to stick to a schedule that's like, okay, got to train Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sometimes it'll end up being Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and there's nothing wrong with that, and you don't have to feel guilty about that. And I think that's where a lot of people get so caught up in the dogma of being on this rigid schedule with their workouts and their training, and it takes the fun out of it. And I think that's probably another reason why people are really drawn to kettlebells, because, again, that bodybuilder style, and, not just trying to beat up on the bodybuilders here, but traditionally when people are in the gym, whether they realize it or not, a lot of them are traditionally following a bodybuilder style workout. And that's a lot of times why the women are so afraid of picking up a weight, because they don't want to get big and bulky, because that's the first thing that comes to their mind is think of weights, think of bodybuilders. And the cool thing is, for some reason with kettlebells, a lot of times it's not viewed like a weight, in the traditional sense as a dumbbell or a barbell.
Yeah, that's true. Even though it is, people they don't think it's like weight training. So
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes less is more. You gain by subtracting. So that extra rest day is really a smart idea for most people. And we're not talking professional kettlebell lifters where they're training hard every single day and supplementing with other types of things as well in many cases. So that we're talking with just regular folks that have families, have jobs, have other responsibilities. So it's a process. It's not we can't make up for lost time. So we can't by training every single day we're going to make up for those years we're sitting in front of the TV. We just have to get started, get moving, and get the momentum in the right direction and try to sustain that.
Definitely. For everybody just tuning in, I'm on the line right now with Steve Cotter of the IKFF. We're discussing his brand new DVD, Extreme Strength. It's a follow-along workout DVD, probably to both of our knowledge, the first of its kind in this type of situation. And for you to get a better idea of what we're talking about, the best thing to do is to grab the DVD yourself, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. You can go to budurl.com/Steve Cotter. That's with 2 T's. Steve Cotter, Extreme Strength. And the word extreme is with no E. So, Steve, we just talked about all the different levels of people who can train with the DVD, from athletes to just a regular person. So, yeah, let's definitely cover that. Again, as far as the workouts themselves, do you have them broken down for the beginner, the intermediate, and the professional? Oh, well, not professional, but the more experienced. And is this also ideal for women as well?
Yes, it is ideal for women. And it is not broken down specifically beginner, intermediate, advanced, but it is appropriate for all levels. The way that it is varied is everybody does the same program. Everybody does the same workout. And, in fact, they do the workout with me, so I set the pace. And, so if you're doing the workout, you're doing it exactly at the same moment that I'm doing it. Right. But where we can differentiate between beginner, intermediate, advanced is varied by the load. So a beginner would use a very light load and gradually bump that up. Intermediate would use an intermediate load. Advanced would use a heavy, so that's the beauty of kettlebells, is the strength, power, endurance. So strength is the load, and power is the speed, and endurance is the duration. So what we're really focusing on in this particular program is the strength component. If you're just starting out, you might use those 8 kilos. If you're, a champion, you might be using those 32 kilos. And if you're a world champion, you might be using the 40 kilos. But everybody can do the program, and you vary the intensity by varying the load of the kettlebells that you're using. So you could actually be working out with your, you could be working out with the champion to the right, and you could be have your grandma working out on the left, and you're all using different weights, but you're doing the same program. So that flexibility is one of the strengths of this particular program, is almost everybody can do it.
Awesome. So, sounds like it's very, like I said, it's packed with a lot of great things inside of it. It's not your typical DVD, obviously. And like I said, we're starting to see a big trend where a lot of people are gravitating toward the culture of kettlebells. And I always say the culture because, I'm thinking at this point now in the game, we can stop saying, we can stop asking the question, well, do you think people still view kettlebells as a fad? Okay, I think it's finally getting to the point where we can kind of move away from that. Now it's more about what inside the kettlebell culture are the fads and trends now. So let me ask you this. Now, I know I will give this to the IKFF, your organization, which I am a member of. A lot of our emphasis is on training with time sets. And can you just kind of go over, what are the benefits of training with time sets instead of training by reps, which kind of a lot of other organizations and a lot of other trainers tend to focus so much. They tend to focus too much on just reps. And what sets time sets, and what the heck is a time set? What sets that apart from everything else? And is it a part of this DVD as well?
Exactly. Yes, it is. Basically, if you're talking about time sets versus interval rep-based training, they're both very important protocols, and we use both. And really, kettlebells it's not about just reps or just about time. It's about both. It's reps and time. But the time sets, another word for time sets is competition training, and what that means is you're simulating a competition set, which, as those in kettlebell sport know, is traditionally a 10-minute set, and so you're doing some percentage of that. Might be 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. So the benefits of that type of training, which is very unique to many people, certainly not to more experienced kettlebell lifters, but to the general public, as you said, most people are tied into the repetition. And when you talk about repetition in kettlebells, anything less than 30 reps would be considered kind of low rep. And, so kettlebells might be 30 reps or more, up to several hundred reps in a given set. So the time sets, one of the benefits in my experience is that it takes the mind away from counting reps. When you start counting reps, your focus gets caught up in the numbers, and that can be a limitation because what a number actually is it represents the upper limit of something. So for example, if you're used to always doing that type of kettlebell training where you're always doing sets of 5 and sets of 10, you've conditioned yourself psychologically and physically to stop at 10. And so now you come train with me and I say, okay, you're going to do a set of 100 reps. Well, that's a big jump psychologically in your mind. So
right.
you're like, oh, 100, I'm used to doing 10. So what happens when you start on that set, when you get to 10, your subconscious mind starts talking to you and saying, hey, you're supposed to be stopping. You should be tired by now.
Right.
And okay, so now you're to 20, and you're counting. You're like, oh, man, I still got 80 more, and I'm already tired. So your psychology is not working in a way to support you. It's kind of working against you, telling you you're tired, you suck, this hurts, let me get out of here. When you take out the numbers and you just focus on the time, now you free your mind. So you're not busy about counting reps. Now you can think about the breathing. You feel the flow of the movement. So many times it helps you to go much further than what you would go just by basing on the reps, because you're not thinking about the reps. And when you take the mind out of it, you can usually do much more, because the mind tends to want to conserve. It wants to conserve. Right. So that time set gets you to really learn to work longer, find that rhythm, find that breathing, which you can sustain for a longer period of time. Having said that, the reps are also important. So doing interval type of training is also very important for anaerobic conditioning. But the problem is when people only do reps and they don't do time, they tend to fatigue. So they're focusing on the power, but which is working at a fast tempo, but they're not developing that endurance, which comes from the duration. And the other important point about the time set is that there's two different types of endurance. There's general endurance, which is like the type of, that's general fitness. That's the type of endurance that is required, for example, to run a 10K. If you can run a 10K, you have pretty good general endurance, good cardiovascular fitness. But with kettlebells, you also need specific or special endurance, which is the type of endurance that can only be developed from doing these longer sets. The most common is of the grip and form. As someone may be well conditioned, but if they don't have that special endurance, they start doing snatches, and they have to let go after a couple of minutes, not because they can't breathe anymore or their heart's beating too fast, but because they can't hold on to the kettlebell anymore. They don't have the special endurance of the grip and the only way to develop that special endurance, you can't, what I say is, 10 sets of 10 is not equal to one set of 100. Same volume, but total different requirement. That one set of 100 is much, much harder because it requires that specific endurance. So there's no way around developing that with kettlebells unless you're doing longer sets. So really in training, you shouldn't do only the long sets. Sometimes you need to do shorter sets, high intensity, more interval-based, short recovery periods, and then repeat. But you need to also sometimes do that competition type training where you're working for an extended period of time.
Definitely. I mean, it's so funny at how there's so many parallels in life, that just what we're just talking about right now as far as the reps and the time sets, so many of those things, those aspects is just like life itself. I mean, rarely is there anything in life where you take a few steps to get to something or to a destination. It's just like, you have to pretty much endure and really get through that. And sometimes, there's a little bit of suffering, but we're humans, and actually we were made to suffer in order to make us stronger. I mean, your muscles suffer every time that you train, and you put them through that suffering, but they pretty much learn how to adapt, recover, come back stronger. And it's so funny how that we get away from that. And training this way with these time sets and mixing in with the reps and things, and knowing how to mix it up and get there, whatever. Just I feel like it's like such a parallel to life. What do you think?
I agree with that. I agree with that as well. And it's, they say it's not how you are at the beginning. It's how you finish. So you need to. It's important to be strong and powerful, but you have to be able to sustain that. And
right.
If it's a 5-minute round and you're a badass for 3 minutes, it's not going to cut it. You got to work that. You got to be just as strong at the end as well.
Yeah.
And that's what this type of training will develop, is that lasting endurance, physically and also psychologically. And that helps us in other things in life, because when we're faced with struggles, which is a part of our life, when we have that mental conditioning, it enables us to find a way to push through.
Definitely.
Once again, everyone, I'm speaking with Steve Cotter, the president, founder of IKFF, and also the author and producer of his latest DVD, Extreme Strength, and that's what we're pretty much talking about today. Steve, let me ask you this, as we're getting closer to wrapping things up. What do you think, how do you feel, in your view, what is the current state of the kettlebell culture today?
I think it's definitely progressing. It's moving in a good direction. For a lot of years, it was kind of stalling. The information was sort of stale, and we didn't have fresh information coming. But now we have an influx of much higher level of education available. We can say that the Iron Curtain has fallen. We're getting access to the top level experience that wasn't available just even a few years ago. The Russians are really at the head of the game in terms of experience and the science behind it. And we have access to that now. It's very similar to the state of martial arts, where if you go back 30, 40 years ago, there was just some basic karate things, and then you started having a lot of the Asian masters that were starting to teach, and then in more recent history we had the influx of the Brazilian masters teaching their systems, and now the quality of martial art education in the U.S. is very high. You can, even in the Midwest or small towns, it's not uncommon to be able to find very high level martial art instructors to learn from. So kettlebells is the same thing is happening. It's not just the basic 5 reps, put it down, pump your muscles up or whatever. Now we're learning about the breathing, we're learning about the mechanics, we're learning about the programming. So I think the state of kettlebells is very healthy. Of course, you're getting a lot of really commercially oriented marketing gimmicks out there. You're getting the the Biggest Loser and all these things where they don't have a really high quality of standard to what they're doing. But I don't take it as a bad sign, because those people are also getting kettlebells out to the masses, where folks like you and I maybe are not touching those people. Then when people get exposed to that kind of McDonald's version of kettlebells, they like it, and if they want to keep taking it further, they'll seek out further education. Then they'll find other teachers that know more. So I think it's really good. And then on my end, I'm doing this, globally, bringing kettlebells to places that have never used kettlebells, and it's just nice to see that all around the world people are looking for a lot of the same things. They're looking for a way to improve their quality of life, fitness being a part of that. So I see kettlebells as definitely growing. There's of course factions like anywhere else. That's kind of human nature. My master's better than your master. This type of attitude, which I don't agree with. But you do have the factions, which isn't so great. But that's human nature, and that will sort itself out. I would just say that kettlebells is much further along than it was, say 3 years ago or 5 years ago.
No, I definitely
and
agree.
it's going to keep growing for the immediate future.
Definitely. And, you were speaking about when you do and you're teaching worldwide, what do you think really draws so many people? I just recently saw your pictures from India from last weekend.
I just got back yesterday, in fact. Yeah.
And that's pretty freaking awesome right there. And, what do you think is
Wonderful.
The worldwide appeal to the IKFF?
Well, I guess my contribution is on the communication level. I think I'm skillful in communicating and being able to connect with people from different cultures. Language, obviously speaking English helps because it's universally, it's a universally accepted language. Not that everybody speaks English, but at least in the developing parts of the world and in the urban centers, you're going to find people that speak English.
Right.
So having that English language certainly is very useful, but the ability to connect, the ability to break concepts down in a simple way that people can understand and relate to, and and as important as that is the ability to inspire, because there's gifted athletes, there's gifted lifters, there's people that are more experienced, more skillful than I am with kettlebells on the physical side. But, if you're a student, it doesn't do you any good to watch me stand up there and do 10 minutes of, snatches or whatever. You can say, oh, wow, this guy's awesome, and he can do more than me. But that's not what it's about. It's about, can I get you to do it too? Right. Not you watch me do it, but you do it. So right. That's really the two things, about IKFF that makes us, puts us in a lot of demand is, the ability, well, first of all, having the technical skill to demonstrate and to teach correctly, having the ability to communicate, and then the ability to connect with people and inspire them to want to do the same and to push themselves to that higher level. And I'm not the only guy out there. There's other fantastic teachers also doing great work as well. We're all working for the same purpose. And just on a human nature level, again, people want to improve. It's not specific to American culture. People all around the world, they want to improve their lives, and we see through fitness a way that we can improve ourselves, first physically, and then psychologically, financially. There's many ways that we can grow, and that's exciting. It's exciting to see progress and to see people making making a better way for themselves. And if kettlebells is the way to do that, then that's awesome. So that's really what it's about. It's just people connecting and promoting good, positive habits. Instead of sitting around watching TV, we can move and make a better life for ourselves. So I'm really happy to be some small part of that, to be able to inspire people to make a better way for themselves.
Sweet. That is awesome. Truly awesome. Well, Steve, we're coming to the end of the call right now, and lots of great things, man. This is a lot of good information right here. And like I said, everyone, speaking with Steve Cotter, president, owner of the IKFF, and also the author of Extreme Strength. His new DVD is just released a few weeks ago, if I'm correct.
Yes.
You can find out more information about it at budurl.com/Steve Cotter Extreme. That's budurl.com/Steve COTTERXTREME. That's where you can find out more information. And you also find out more information about the IKFF there, as well as other products that Steve has produced. And also for upcoming workshops and certifications. One thing about the IKFF is not just about kettlebells there. I mean, Steve, you have other programs as well, and you teach another workshop. In fact, you got a few coming up, even dealing with body weight training as well.
Yes, that's right. And that's where it all starts is with the body.
Definitely.
So we got to move the body too.
Exactly. You can't move the body. You shouldn't be trying to move a weight.
Exactly.
So, you haven't earned that right just yet. So, Steve, before we let you go, any last words that you want to impart, any more nice little gems of wisdom or anything else you want to say before we bounce out of here?
Well, I'm really thankful for giving me an opportunity to share what I'm doing. Sincere, I really appreciate that, and you're doing great work as well. In fact, when I was in India, one of the guys was telling me about your blog and how he follows your blog. So that was cool to hear them talk about my friend Sincere out there across the world. That was really nice. And just just want to say to people, believe in yourself, and we're all special in some way, not in a hokey hippie kind of way, but just we all life is a blessing. Life's a blessing. Definitely. And it's a gift, and it is what we make it. So I'm fortunate to do what I'm passionate about, and I love to just inspire people to follow their dreams, their goals, and believe in their value. And whatever you focus on, if you focus on it hard enough, you can achieve. So, it's the kettlebells and working out. It's about improving our body, but it's about improving our mind. And we have to just believe in yourself, and focus on what you want in life. Don't focus on all these distractions and all the bad news we see on TV, but focus on that powerful person inside of you, and
exactly.
do good work with that. So it's just a pleasure to speak with you, Sincere, and
definitely.
For those of you that listened through the whole interview, I appreciate you sticking with us on that as well.
Yeah, definitely a big shout out to our audience that's listening right now. Hey, you guys are the main reasons that Steve and myself do what we do. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
we'd be sitting in a little room by ourselves like crazy people doing it for ourselves. So
for sure.
You are an inspiration. All right, Steve, well, I know you got to get back to it, brother. I know you're busy. I truly appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to spend time with us. And
me too, Sincere.
Give us an update on what you're doing, man. And hope to see you soon, beyond just talking on the phone, but, we'll catch up soon, definitely.
We have to. Thanks so much, Sincere. I really appreciate everything, man.
All right. Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you
Cheers.
soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.